Good morning, everybody. This is
Good
Sales
morning.
Chatter. It's Ryan. It's Jeff. We have a great topic for you today. Let's hit that intro.
Let's do it.
To the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.
Jeff, I gotta say,
Yeah.
yesterday was it was such a jam-packed episode, man. I thought
Oh,
it
it
was
was.
one of the best values add. So I've sent a bunch of the actual clip over to some prospects and some customers yesterday, and it's awesome because the things we talk about, they're actual actionable things, right? We're not just kind of making things up and things like that. What did you kind of take away from yesterday?
Oh, I'll tell you what, those are the type of constructive conversations that's necessary. You know, ad hoc,
Yeah.
pull it from your butt kind of responses. It's like, it's like when you go on, when you get put in a hot spot or hot seat and need to answer something, you really got to start really thinking. And it's good questions for everybody to ask themselves pretty much on a daily basis, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you get into your goals for the week, goals for the month, what do you call it? Objectives that need to be met. It has something to do with all of this, what we discussed yesterday and how we discuss that with our customers and then set those goals moving forward, on the communication side, because it's gold. All of
Yes.
that was gold, man. Dean knocked it out as well. I mean, we touched on stuff that we weren't even planning on touching on. I mean, it was just explosive. It was great.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. Good morning, Damon. Damon's the number
Hey,
one.
David, how are you, sir?
Go, and then the Lisa. Good morning, Lisa. It's been a week for you, but glad to see you always here interacting with everybody. Yeah, like I said, yesterday was just amazing. Just all
Yeah.
the nuggets and everything like that. Not even just about Ian, because I think I was looking at it. I think there was a time that we kept on talking, and it flowed so well that I looked up at the timer. I'm like, oh my god, it's 30 minutes, and we're still talking about Ian. So I was like, this is amazing because we weren't just talking about those impacts only. We're talking about the future. Dean mentioned 2 weeks prior that he saw some staging and things like that, right? So yeah, data days are always one of my favorites, to be completely honest.
It was awesome. I mean, I just talked to my partner because I got an office in St. Augustine, Florida as well. And they're just getting hit now and they have 60, 65 mile an hour winds.
Oh, man.
Not so bad, but my partner's doing well down there. I always touch base with him to make sure that, there are no problems or anything like that. So they still have the electricity, but it's flickering. That's going to happen anyway. I mean, it's Florida. I
Yeah,
mean, they get
Florida,
hit
yeah.
all the time. So.
Yeah, they get hit all the time, but people there were thinking about you. I saw a bunch of videos. I saw everything all over social media, so we're just hoping that everyone stays safe and
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
like that. We got
Absolutely.
somebody hitting us in the afternoon, so maybe it's in the afternoon where they are right now. But thank you for joining us, Loris.
Yes.
So let's get into today. I think today is a very important. I thought about this last night. We got about 2 more days left in the month. Goal setting. Jeff, when it comes to goal setting, right? What are some things you kind of think about, and how does it push you forward in terms of getting to where you want to get in your professional life?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a great question too. When I set my goals, especially at the end of the month, I reflect on what happened on the previous month. As we end it, what are the good things that have happened? What are the bad things that are happening? And some of the things that end up in purgatory, where it's just sitting there and you're not sure which way it's going to go and how you could do things better. So, during that whole month, I write down a lot of notes. And of course, I converse with my partner, hey, man, how are we going to, get to that next level? I talked about leveling up when I was on vacation and I had that pad of paper and I was writing everything down. It's all relative when you're trying, especially now we're going to get into that fourth quarter too, right? Don't forget, right? It's starting, what is it, on Saturday? So, Saturday, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Saturday.
Saturday first. It's those things where you've got 2 days left in the month. You have to start writing all those things down and then setting those goals. I like to do it on a weekly basis because I kind of know what's in my pipeline, and then I want to, increase it. How can we increase it? What can we do better? And it's not just for the business either. It's for myself. What I need to do to create extra time for me to, re-energize, sort of speaking. And I talked about the failure of not doing so for so long. I mean, I try to do an exercise when I can, but I don't put a lot of effort into it, to be perfectly honest with you. So I fail miserably in that area, but it's all, I compensate that failure to successes on the business side, but that's going to catch up to me rather soon. So that's pretty much how I do it as far as the goal setting and the objectives that need to be met, and who I'm going to call, who I'm going to contact, who I'm going to partner with, etc. How about yourself? What do you do?
Yeah, I think with goal setting, I think the one big thing for me is that I measure progress. And I don't, so like the biggest mistake I made early in my career was that I set like a monetary goal and I was like, okay, I broke it down to like the daily targets, the weekly targets. And it's a great thing to do. But the days that I
Right.
didn't hit those targets, I felt like garbage, like I was like, I didn't have like that self value or that self worth. I felt like I failed, right? And I
Yep.
realized that it's not like some people they operate like an all or nothing mentality, and it's okay to do that. It's
It
different
is.
points in people's life, but for me, I measured activity because I feel like activity is progress, and then progress kind of gets you that habit, right? So
Yes.
if so what I've kind of changed in my life is that I haven't gone to a monetary goal. I've set like a daily activity goal, right? So whether it
That's
be like,
smart.
hey, I gotta
That's
do
really
like,
smart.
yeah, thank you. And it's worked for me because instead of thinking, hey, I've got to make like whatever the number is, like whatever the number you want to make, like I got to make this, but it's like then you're talking to prospects, you come off a little bit desperate, maybe you're one load or two loads short. But then when I set the activity, it's like it leads to that. And I just want to kind of say good morning to Ashley. Good morning,
Hi,
Jenny.
Ashley.
Anybody like what kind of goals, what kind of things are you guys all kind of working on in the audience, and where are you right now? Because I know every year everybody could always say this, right? Like they want to lose weight. The gym is packed from January to February, and then I like to call it's the gym donation. After those months, you're just paying those monthly fees and you're not going, right? So, like I said, I'm a big fan of like working on activities and moving the needle forward. Jeff, like you said, like you've obviously been in the industry for a while and had tons of success. What kind of goals, personal goals, do you kind of have like for, let's say we're going into Q4, Q1? I know you're already thinking about these things, but what are some
Yeah.
like strict goals that you're kind of like trying to hold yourself to, and even your partner as well?
Yeah, and I just wanted to go back to what you were just saying real quick
Mhm.
about the monetary side and then your activities. Um, it's like putting the cart before the horse, right?
Yeah.
When you start thinking about the revenue and the profit and everything, it takes away from where you really should be focusing on, right? Because you can't count your chickens, you can't count the eggs, whatever that saying is, right? Before they're hatched. So the thing is that what steps and activities can you take to concentrate on that will get you to the revenue that needs to be met as a goal and objective? So if you concentrate on that, the money will come. Don't worry about the money. Just don't
Exactly.
worry about the money. It's the steps and the activities, like you said, that if you work hard and focus on them, if you put the proper steps in place, you're going to get to where you need to be. But don't focus on that money. I never do. I don't do load counts or anything. The most
Mm.
important thing that I concentrate on, as far as your question that you just asked, is that how am I corresponding and communicating with my customers, and how can I do it better? And my partner and myself talk about that all the time. Not that we're failing in it, but I was just telling you prior to getting onto the show that I have a customer, very big customer that's out in California, and there's a lack of communication, not on my side, because I mean, when you send out 10 emails and you don't get a response, or if you make a phone call and you don't get a response, you've got a carrier sitting in there waiting for a load that's supposed to be ready to ship, but it's not. Now you're dealing with either a tonneau charge because it's not ready, or you got detention charges. It gets very, very frustrating. So it's like, how do you get over that bump? It's not the
Yeah.
first time that this has happened to me, but when it does happen, I'm extremely steadfast in my beliefs and everything. And I tell them the way that I feel. I don't butter anything up, because I believe that a true partnership should be real, being
Yes.
that you don't have to curse anything, but be very firm in the way that you respond and tell people the way things need to be handled. And that's, again, on the goals and objectives. We talk about that as well, my partner and myself. Like, how can we communicate better? And when the communication's not there, what do we need to do? Like, make a phone call, talk to a VP, tell them about the conditions, the problems, how much it's costing them on detention or tonneau charges, as an example. And you're just saying, listen, I'm here as a partner to reduce your cost, not to increase your cost.
Exactly.
What are you doing operationally, And so now we start talking about that. And now I'm going to fly out to California, because I'm an operations guy. I have a very good feel as to why those things are happening. And so when I see it and I point it out and then I write it down and I help write the work instructions on that to streamline the processes internally, as well as the yard management side of the business, things start going. So those are the things, the goals and objectives that my partner and I talk, like, okay, so if we're doing that for this customer, we should be doing it to all customers and kind of building it before it happens. So when it happens, we can adjust rather quickly. We know the steps, we know the processes, and pretty much we can avoid those extra charges just like that.
100%. I just want to kind of get into comments here. Like Lisa brings up a great point here. We're saying that you can control activity and it's measurable, right? Yep. And shout out to Mike Langstaff. Good morning, Mike. Hope you're doing well. Jenny brings up some great points here, that after 5 months of struggle, finally being able to see a silver lining, and that's what it comes down to. So for the upcoming months, I want to keep improving myself. I want to keep upskilling in terms of communication and product knowledge.
Yes.
Jenny, you're gonna crush it. Like, just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, do that, because it's key in this industry. Number one, communication is key, collaboration is key, and knowledge. You just don't have to watch this podcast. You can watch many different podcasts. There's like what Dean and we were talking about yesterday, about he watches a plethora of podcasts because basically he's taking other people's perspectives on a certain subject, and then he's gathering that, he's taking that in, absorbing it, and then creating his own logical response to whatever he's working on based upon that. Of course, he's going to take his own data, but then he's listening to a different approach from a different person. So every day it's great to widen your knowledge bank by looking and reading these articles by different people, just to get a better idea. So you have your finger on the pulse. It's so important. So you're doing the right thing, Ashley. You really are.
Yeah, and it's actually really cool. Jenny's kind of doing an awesome job, and it's cool that you just mentioned that point, because I saw a video yesterday by Think Media. They're a YouTube channel that basically helps people kind of grow their YouTube communities and stuff like that. And they said, like, the one way to basically boost your channel and kind of get an audience, you got to consume more YouTube. You got to be watching, like, whatever you do, you got to consume. You got to be a student of it. You got to see what other people are doing, right? Like, you're looking at the big YouTubers, stuff like that. I think what's that guy? I forget his name, but see what they're doing. Like, take little things from them, because in our industry and everything else, we're not going to reinvent the wheel. At the end of the day, it's the same thing all the time. And Ashley brings up a great point here in terms of her goals. Reading more career and development books, applying her takeaways from what she's read and implement them to her day to day. These will help her in a path and her overall career goal. And that's awesome. It's, I mentioned, like, last week, like, I'm not to deter you or anything like that, Ashley, but I personally hate books because I don't retain it. But I've tried, like, leaving notes, but what's worked for me is, like, watching videos or listening to podcasts. And like Jeff and Dean kind of mentioned, that there's no one way. Definitely consume anything that you can that you think will be beneficial. I know for myself, being a younger generation, is that I consume a little too much social media, so I'm working on it. My screen time's a little too much on Instagram or TikTok and all that stuff, and getting in the memes. I have dogs, so if any dog lovers out there, and they know about the dog memes, right? So just coming back, I think a lot of us, Jeff, like, we all work from home, so it's we're a little bit too hard on ourselves. Procrastination is how many times, like, I like being completely honest, right? Like, how many times we go for lunch and we're like, the couch feels a little nice, let's throw on a little Netflix episode, and then you're like, oh my god, it's like 1 o'clock in the day. Like, it happens.
Oh, I tell you what, I've never done that. Seriously.
Okay. I put a 1 in the comment if you can relate.
I've never done that, because look, let's face it, when you have your own business, everything counts on you. And so your activities that you do day in and day out is going to affect your overall success. So why would you want to lay on a couch and watch Netflix and stuff? I mean, it's like I'm commuting every day to New York City, except I'm not on a bus. I'm not taking a train. I don't have 3 hours. So what do I do? That 3 hours that I would be commuting, I sit in my desk. Instead of being in a car and traveling at 6 a.m. in the morning, I'm at my desk. So I'm gaining 3 hours easily every single day, which equates to 15 extra hours of productivity. And you can't get that when you work for another company. I've been there. It's like lunchtime. What the hell is that? When you have your own business, you don't go anywhere. I mean, you grab a quick sandwich, you're back at your desk and you're pounding the keyboard, man. You're reaching out to people. So there's another hour a day. So you've got 15 hours in the morning. Don't forget at nighttime as well, because you got that 3 hours on the return.
It's not like that 5 to 9, right? Like the episode we had in the week, living up your 5 to 9 outside.
Right. So on a weekly basis, when you're working for yourself, you're getting 15 hours in the morning, 15 hours at night, and another 5 hours for lunch. So do it up. For every week that you work, you gain another week of work, of productivity. So a 52 week year becomes 104. Just like that, with the extra hours that you have available for you. And, you're saving money on gas, you're saving money on clothes, all that different kinds of stuff. It's all about you. So you're your own worst enemy. If you choose not to do that, you have nobody else to blame except yourself. If you're not doing that and you're not focused in on where you need to be and how you're going to get there, you're not going to get there. Don't wake up in the morning and go do this and do that. I mean, if you're serious about your business, man, get into it.
Yeah, 100%.
Get it done.
Yeah, exactly. You got to get it done too. And you know what? Like that's where the activity comes into it. Like we're talking about our goals, right? Because we're not setting up like the goals like, hey, I wish to have a good day. There's a difference between I wish to and I'm going to have a good day, right? When you put that mindset, and it's really important you kind of said that because not a lot of us are commuting right now. I know I've been working from home prior to COVID, right? So it's been different for me. Before I used to be in the office 7th, like it was like an hour commute for me before every other place that I kind of worked, right? So for me, like Jeff, like I put up a question here. I like to kind of be interactive, but I'll ask you to you as well. Is there anything or what is holding you back from basically any of your goals right now?
Me. Simple question is me. It's yourself. You're the only one that are going to hold back from reaching your goals and objectives on every single month. Or what you want to accomplish for the whole year. Your success relies on you, your partnerships, and your ability to move forward. I mean, like I said a long time ago, Ryan, and you know it as well, man. Sometimes you're your own worst enemy. If you don't move forward and you're procrastinating all the time, the only person you have to blame, you don't have a boss. If you're an entrepreneur, your boss is yourself. So you're answering to yourself and your activities and your failures. Nobody else is creating for you except you. Mm-hmm. So that's why, you need to have that me time. I spoke about that, when you need to break away, like you, Ryan, every hour on the hour, you're taking 10 minutes, to just re-energize, get up, walk away, take a deep breath, re-energize yourself, get back to your desk and start moving forward. Well, that's the thing that you need to do. You need that me time. You need to talk to yourself internally, what's working, what's not, what do I need to do, say, it has so much to do with that. So you're your own worst enemy. That pretty much answers that question.
I love that because like we were at an event last night, my wife and I, and basically a person actually said that, you're your own worst enemy. If anything's going to happen, it's going to be up to you. And just kind of like being kind to yourself. And I think with kind of getting back to the topic of goals, right? Like In terms of goals itself, short term, long term goals, Jeff, how far in advance do you kind of like plan out your goals, and when do you fine tune it? Like, let's say, hey, something's not working. Let me kind of look at a different point of view at that point. Like, how often are you going back to like look at your goals and kind of say, hey, how far am out of my?
Great question. So since I've been in the business for a long time, I look at my business as like a project calendar, okay,
Okay.
with deadlines. So I have the Excel out. I put in a deadline, start date, end date. Then I have my own internal meeting. Um, what's working, what's not. Did I meet that deadline? It's project management basically all the way.
Yeah.
And then you set yourself up for your partners, your customers, whatever it might be. But do it in a project management way where you set your goals and objectives with deadlines on it, and then start asking yourself those questions. Did I make it? If I didn't make it, why was I unable to reach that objective? And then you start putting your bullet points down. Well, I didn't do this, or I could have done that, etc. So it's like anything. I mean, it's like your own personal development, your business development. It's all project management when you think about it. You're setting those goals and objectives, and then you're putting deadlines attached to those goals and objectives. And I said this. I keep on saying I said this before, etc.
It's
But
all good. It's all good.
have. It's like go out to your competitors, go out to your friends in the business, communicate with them, and sometimes ask that same question. Hey, what are you doing? What's your best practices?
Yeah.
They're not going to be, decent human beings aren't out there to steal what you're doing. They're trying to learn as much as you're trying to learn. And every day in this business, in the logistics and supply chain, if you're not learning daily, then you're not moving forward. So don't be afraid to talk to your competitors, people in the business, go to events. I see a lot of people out there attending it. It's great.
Yep.
Converse,
Yeah.
absorb.
100%. And actually, let's get into our data lane of the. Awesome. Always love that. The lane of the day today is going to be flatbed out of Morrisville, North Carolina to Lakeland, Florida. The line haul RPM is $3.06 a mile. With fuel, $3.79 a mile. The contract rate is coming at $3.47 a mile. Year over year, line haul change has been minus 13 cents. The comments is that recent upward movement due to the possible hurricane, and Lowe's headquarters is out there as well. The current rate is 67 cents higher than the August average. So that's
Yeah.
definitely to keep on there. So one thing, like as you kind of mentioned here, is great things to like measure. One big thing is, hey, when you accomplish your goals, what's something that you do? Because like, how do you celebrate your goals? Because I feel like it's really important that you have to. Some people think like, oh, I do a little this, like maybe I go for a nice dinner and then it's on to the next one, But it's like, I think it's really important. You got to celebrate the wins, just as much as we beat ourselves up about the losses. How is celebrating the wins important for you, Jeff?
To a certain degree, it is very, very important. But with the goals and objectives for myself,
Mhm.
I don't really do much to it. It's just like I always say to myself, well, what can I do better? It's always that
Yeah.
question, I reached it. All right. Do I want to go out to dinner? Do I want to go? And it's not like I don't have to spend money to enjoy my successes. It's more like I want to double and triple my successes from the last time. And how did I get there? And how can I multiply it? That's the way that I celebrate
Next.
it. I just move on to the next. Some people say, okay, I need to go on a vacation. Sure, you need to do those vacations and stuff like that. Just, weekends or whatever. Sure, I do that. But I don't celebrate that because I just have so many different goals and objectives that need to be met. I'm always rethinking, reprocessing, what can I do better? How can I? And I'm moving in the right direction. I mean, what I do isn't necessarily the same and good for everybody else,
That's why we love this show, like everyone has like different perspectives. Like I'm completely opposite of what you kind of said. Like
Yeah.
I'm big on like when I hit goals, like whether it be professional or my my personal life, I've got to celebrate it, you know, and I've got to like, and it's not necessarily about going out to town and like spending a whole bunch of money and all that stuff, but it's just, I've got to acknowledge that I came this far. I set a goal and I accomplished it, you know, and like to the
Yeah.
viewers as well, you know, you've got to take that time to understand that you did something, you know, you did something that you said you were going to. Not a lot of people get to that point, right? So,
No,
um,
no,
it's
they don't.
yeah. Yeah, they don't, and, you know, it's I say a goal written on paper is basically a wish until you kinda make it happen, right? So,
Pretty
like I said,
much.
it's really important to basically celebrate your goals and, like we said, work on the next one. I'm a big sports guy, pretty sure you are as well, and, hey, there's 30 teams in the league, only 1 team can win the championship every year, right? So, there's a reason why that anybody who kinda loses or anything like that, they start working for next year, they start training, they're like, "Okay, in the summer, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that." So, it's about leveling yourself, and like Ashley kind of mentioned here, like reading more books, you know, like that's going to be her thing, to implement them daily, you know, like there's other things that everybody can do, you know, take some courses, you know, Udemy is a great website for taking courses. Like I know like I'm on this podcast and I can talk to people now, but there was a point in my life that I couldn't talk to people. You know, I was afraid. You know, like
Yeah.
I was afraid. So I took like public coursing. I started talking to people more. You just mentioned that going to different shows, and I remember my first trade show ever. Like I was so scared. Like I was so scared to go talk to people, and then because I'm like I was there with a goal, and that wasn't the right thing. I was there to close people, mind you. There was no legit shippers or anything like that. That
Right.
was a big mistake. But then once I kind of stop in that mindset and I was like, let me just talk to people. Like, you know, these people want to talk to you. And had genuine conversations. And it actually led to like I got like in contact with 3 shippers and we started doing business together. But
Sure.
that's when I went with nothing expected. Damon brings up a great point
I
here
was just
because
about to say that. I was
yeah.
just about to say that.
You know,
He's
appreciation
right
goes
on.
to
He's right
yeah,
on.
he's and that's the amazing thing, you know, like I'm Damon's a very spiritual person just like myself and just like yourself as well. And it's like where I kind of believe in my faith is that everything happens the way it needs to happen. You know, nothing kind of happens by chance. You know, like if I'm gonna meet somebody today, that was planned. It might seem like chance to me, but it's already been planned from a different power. But they celebrate with family, friends, coworkers. You know, like
Yep.
one thing I love is that anytime I kind of crush a goal, like my wife and my dogs are always down for a party. You know, so they're always down to celebrate, and it's amazing. You know, and just kind of setting your targets and like when it comes to I believe that goals kind of like help you where you want to be in life.
Yes.
And it's something like we're so lucky to be in this amazing industry, you know, like I remember when I worked a corporate job, it was a salary job, a base salary, and then I was making maybe like 25 cents. Like, you know, you had those like 2 raises, right? But we all work in sales and operations. We have the opportunity to build a life that we want to build, right? Like I've seen some people come into this industry and just have crazy amounts of success that I'll be completely transparent when I say this. Like, if I didn't do the sales or logistics, I don't know what I would do. You know, I honestly don't know what I would do. Like, maybe I'd lean towards like the dog rescue side because that's a part of me
Right.
personally, but I don't know what I would do. You know, I couldn't see myself in a suit, you know, like working a 9 to 5 and like God bless all those real
Oh,
estate
yeah.
agents all hustling,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it's just not, you
Absolutely.
know.
You know something? You know something? From my point of view, I've seen so much compared to others um, when we didn't have those computers and we were
Yes.
using AS400s or we were using 11 by 17 green bar paper for data analysis, or we didn't have like the czar lights for the LTL and we were using pony charts. They're all paper tariffs and all of that. And then you see the growth of the industry and how it evolved over the last 30 years. It's absolutely amazing. And I know because of my experience that what I saw over that period of time, you're going to see it evolve even more over the next 30 years.
Yeah.
It's just at that pace. It's at a higher pace than it was over the last 30 years because people are getting very inventive and they're making things more effective, more efficient,
Yeah.
and it's just amazing. I wish that a lot of people saw what I saw back then, and then they're like, "Holy!" I mean, it is just absolutely mind blowing. I don't know. I mean, a whole segment on that wouldn't even.
I think we need to. I think we need to go through it because like the innovation of it alone, like like we were talking a little bit before, like we're using carriers that have like automatic tracking. Like I could click a link and then I'll see exactly where they are. We didn't have that like 6 years ago when I was working at a different company. But now those are options. And you even look at like now, like I'll tell you this, Jeff. Like I know you're not gonna do this, but even for me, I send out video messaging as a part of my prospecting. Before,
Yeah.
back in the day, it was only phone calls. And mind you, phone calls is still key. Cold calling is the best thing you could do because it's the fastest way to report. But another channel, like LinkedIn messages, like there's so much innovation that I've personally seen. So I would love to actually get on an episode with you and actually talk about kind of going from those. And actually, Damon kind of says, see, maybe we need to get Damon on that as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And then you think about this, right, Damon? How the hell do we do our business without these?
Yeah.
I mean, just think about that. It was just like you're on the warehouse floor, you're doing operations and stuff like this. Now you had to run to your office, to go make a phone call, and you're sitting in there. Meanwhile, you're not productive out there on the floor. I mean, just all these different things. I mean, I just smile about it because it's mind blowing. It's just absolutely beyond mind blowing.
Awesome. I think we're gonna finish off that. I think like the big takeaways, and I'll get you, Jeff, as well. The big takeaways for me, and for everybody else kind of watching here is set your goals and honestly just measure your activity. Your activity is what's gonna push you forward. It's like watching a motivational video on like David Goggins who runs like 10K and is like, oh my God, I'm so motivated. But then you actually got to kind of go out and do it, right? So
Yep.
It's from there. That's kind of like my big takeaway. What's your big takeaway for today, Jeff?
The biggest thing is pace yourself, set your goals and objectives that are realistic. Don't create something that can't be met. Do it in easy, attainable steps.
Perfect. There's nothing better than that. And I want to thank everybody for coming out this morning, everyone kind of sharing on this topic. I think it's an amazing topic and we should revisit it later on as well. Like we said, we've got the replay again at 12 p.m. and 3 p.m. Eastern time on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, tell a friend if you found some value in this. Tell anybody, tell your coworkers, and let us know. Like, hit us up, messages. You can message us privately and let us know how you're enjoying this. I want to thank Daman, our sponsor from Centurion Trucking, an amazing person,
Thanks, Damon.
an amazing company as well. And with that, looking forward to tomorrow's wins and lessons with everybody. All right, take care, everybody.
Fun. Have a great day, guys.
Centurion Trucking, our motto is people before profit. Today's market requires more transparency, consistency, and focus on what our clients need to win. Centurion Trucking and American Logistics are poised to help their clients achieve and surpass their targets. If you're looking for a team that honors your needs, dreams, and aspirations, then get a hold of Daman at